Oh, haha, there we go. The internet can totally see you now. I had my microphone muted. Hey, Jacko, Lazy Bear, Albus09. Hey, hi. Hello. Welcome to a really long title. Might Knight also here. Hello. I think my stream might say... It might still say that I'm playing Neo. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, good. It actually did update. Ted Anderson apparently is the internet. Oh, man, everybody's here tonight. We got Xerxes, we got Ted Anderson, we got Radazazzle. Hell yeah. Let me post this in a couple of threads. The administrator says you can only post messages every 10 seconds. Well, fuck you. I'll do what I want. I'll post however many times I want in 10 seconds. World record. That's right. Time for C. Jacobs to once again claim his speedrun throne. Well, that's the thing. I already had the throne. It's just that I have kind of like... I've kind of stacked a couple more cardboard boxes underneath the throne so that I'm sitting up a bit higher. Hi, hello. Welcome. Emily Smith, HVR. Sit on a phone book. You know, it's funny. I had to do that, actually, when I was younger, because up until about, like... sophomore year of high school, I was very short. It's kind of funny. Like, sophomore year of high school, I hit a growth spurt where I went from, like, upper 4 foot to, like, 6'1" or 2, and that's where I am now, and I haven't grown any more since then. Like, in the span of, like, a couple months, I just fucking, like, I grew like a mushroom. It's like, I went from having to... adjust my seat way up near the steering wheel in like driver's ed class to like having to lean all the way back, and it was kind of funny. World record for throne building speedrun, cardboard percent. 5'7" not short. 5'7" is average. Okay, let's get some music going here. And I'm not gonna play Echo Jams. I was gonna play Echo Jams, but I'm not gonna do it anymore because once that loop that I posted on my Twitter just now gets stuck in your head, it's never coming out. It's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of eternity, I'm pretty sure. Let me find some stuff to... You want me to play it? Maybe I'll play it. Your current live streams is on the YouTube homepage. I don't need to know that I'm streaming. I already know that. Thank you. How many world records do I have now? Just 2. Just Max Payne 3 and The Surge. But both of those are games that nobody really, like, speedruns, so... Let me look, actually. Let me look at speedrun.com for The Surge. There are a couple of people that run the game with no major glitches, but I am the only person that I know of that runs it with no glitches whatsoever. Yeah, Jacko, you've got about 5 minutes. We'll get going at about 10 minutes in or so. I already did the run, for those of you that didn't see it on my Twitter. I did the run the other day. Unfortunately, OBS didn't capture my timer, but I have the timer. So what I'm going to be doing is, while we're watching it, I am going to be running the timer up in the corner, even though I already did the run. And I'm just going to be matching it up to the image of the timer that I already have, because it just didn't capture it in the window. I guess it was like a chroma key issue. Like, I set the chroma key to be red, but I think I might have set the smoothness or whatever so high that it straight up just didn't capture it at all. When am I going to grab the Evil Within 2's world record? Never. That belongs to Jigsaw Killer, a streamer that I follow that I really like his content, and he goes really fucking fast in that game. The Surge has a number of speedruns that have been completed. It's just there aren't very many on speedrun.com, and most of the people who run the game run it unpatched, which you can't do on PC anyway. And the reason that people run it unpatched is because there are 2 developer tools left in the game. One that allows you to quick save and quick load, which completely ruins the challenge of anything, and one that lets you kill yourself if you get stuck, so there's no possibility of the run ending because you get stuck out of bounds. And so the unpatched versions are more focused on glitch-based runs, where you run through walls, you skip areas, you don't fight enemies, and all that stuff. And that's very boring to me. I like demonstrating like more gameplay-based skill instead of technical skill, because in my opinion anybody can learn how to jump through a wall. You just do it over and over until you succeed. And with quick saving and loading, it's so easy that you can just save in front of the wall and then load if you don't make the jump. Like, there's no consequences. But if you die in a no glitches run, you have to run all the way back to where you were, and also in some cases defeat the enemies that you already have defeated to get back there. And that's what I find to be interesting, is when it is almost purely based on saving time by being efficient at the gameplay. So that's what I did, and I have done it faster than anybody else. When am I going to go for the Bloodborne world record? I tried, actually. Let me look at my Bloodborne record as it is. Video. I don't think I have the source video for it anymore, but it was at least like an hour shorter than the world record. No, the DLC for the Surge has not come out yet, but on consoles, it hasn't come to PC yet, but on consoles they have started patching in new areas and items and all of that stuff to prepare for the DLC. Like, they moved around a lot of the enemies and replaced some of the geometry, and one of the later levels even has like the whole layout of one section rearranged, because there is a train there that isn't there anymore, so they moved it. See, what do I want to listen to while we're waiting? I don't know. Okay, I didn't mean in real life. Like, I imagine it's quite difficult to run through a wall in real life. I can't say I've ever tried, but, you know, I have a feeling that it probably is not super easy. I'll promote somebody else's music while we do this. We'll do that. I first heard of this guy on 4chan. He advertised his music, and I really like it. That's right, Jebbo Man. That's exactly right. So deep in the night, headlights flash against the wall. I show you where it's dark. You swear you'll be brave. 4chan is great. What do you mean? As long as you don't go to like fucking hole. Hey, thanks, Jebbo Man. It went pretty well. This song, of course, is called "Be Somebody" by Icarus. It is very good, and there is another song of theirs that I may possibly be using at some point soon for a preview of a certain Let's Play about some kind of human-shaped automatons in the near future of early 2018.
I swear I'll be brave. These cold hard bones may need a favor. Ooh, give them purpose, be my savior. So I can be somebody tonight, tonight, tonight. I can be somebody tonight, tonight.
Yup, that's right, Alan Tomaton Wake. Hey, I blame Road Zeus.
If I could be somebody, be somebody, be somebody, just what you like. So I could be somebody, be somebody.
See you later, Lazy Bear. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for dropping by. So yeah, that's a goddamn good song. Be Somebody by Icarus. All the music I've heard of theirs is really good. They've only released EPs so far, but they're good shit. It's all synthwave type stuff like that. So I am here. I'll transition to the screen so I can show you. I am currently chroma keying out the timer so that it properly shows up. I don't know why it didn't show up on my original recording, but I'm hoping that this time it will show up there. I can see it on the preview, so it should be there. Surge. So my record is now 2 hours, 0 minutes, and 26 seconds, which is almost exactly 42 minutes shorter than my previous record. Those of you who watched my previous speedrun record of the game may recall that I got stuck on the Black Cerberus and the final boss for a very long time, and I also had to run through the executive forum a couple times. Well, I only died like twice? I think I died 3 times in the whole run. One of those deaths being to the Black Cerberus, which is a very short run back to him. So, I cut out a lot of the fat, and it went a lot better. So, we're gonna watch this together. Once I figure out where the hell this is, because this is a 2 hour long video file, so it's kind of hard to Let me figure this out real quick. Oh man. Oh, look at that. The volume dynamically adjusts because of the auto ducker. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, this is only going to take about 2 hours. I've got the timer up there in the top right. Obviously, the Windows Media Player overlay is going to come up when I hit any buttons, but that's okay. So this run of the Surge, it went very well, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's going to be kind of hard for me to beat this because I only died a couple times. So from here on, it's pretty much route optimization. So we'll wait for me to get my slow ass going here, and then we'll see. Again, for those of you that are watching this when this is archived and is a video version, we are watching the archived version of my recording because OBS didn't capture my timer. So that's what we are here to rectify, and also to do commentary on it. I don't know when in this recording I'm going to alt-tab into the game and start the run. I don't know when that is. Let me skip around a little more. Oh, there it is. There's the Surge. Oh. No. No. Back. There we go. Okay, so timer starts when I skip the cutscene with Don. Right now. So for this run, I turned off all the DLC stuff because I didn't really want to bother having to fight the enhanced DLC enemies with the special weapons, and I didn't want to use them anyway. So hey, it works out pretty well because they don't get in my way this way. Turn this up a little bit. My favorite strategy here is to let Warren roll down the ramp because he goes faster. He also goes faster if you wheel backwards, but I haven't been able to figure out how to consistently do that.
If you like living life in the fast lane,
I love it. I love that he rolls faster down the ramp. It's so good. Oh, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did say that exact same thing on the last run, because it's important that people know that. Because it's hilarious. So one thing people suggested that I do to go faster is use the slide attack more. So I'm going to be opening with that sometimes in fights now, whenever it's safe to do that. Which is not often, but sometimes. Because it's just easier that way to get the opening hit on the enemy. It's not much faster, but it's a little bit there. Just a little bit. Let me turn this up a little more, actually. Okay. We are going to be ignoring Sally. Go fuck yourself, Sally. I don't want to talk to you anyway. So, this first area actually is one of the slower segments. There is a lot of room for improvement, because in this run specifically, my playthrough of this first area went very badly. And I'll explain why when we get to that point, but the basic gist of it is I haven't done a speedrun of the Surge in a while, so I pretty much completely forgot all of my strategies for, like, picking up health items and stuff. And that is, of course, a problem, because you really need all that stuff, and if you do it in the wrong order, it takes a long time to go and get it. Oh, also, you may have noticed that my fancy HUD overlay for the timer is gone now. I made this cool looking overlay that kind of fit with the game's HUD for the timer, but I lost it. I deleted it at some point, and I don't know where it went. Either I just completely got rid of it, or I just put it somewhere and don't remember, but I can't find it, so we're back to using the vanilla default timer. So how's everybody doing this afternoon, this early evening? I'm doing all right. I've got my interview tomorrow with Meg Sarix, the voice actress for Kidman, and I figured, hey, I'll get this out of the way because I have a free evening.
Hello.
Oh crap! So this is the first of 1 or 2 minor interruptions I have. The op center closes up when there are enemies outside, which means that you have to fight them, and that's kind of a bother when you have really low damage output. I am interviewing Kidman, Ted Anderson. Her boyfriend is a member of the Something Awful forums, and he was posting in the games thread for the Evil Within 2, which I am the OP of. And so I PM'd him, and I was like, "Hey, do you think she'd be up for an interview for like Let's Play bonus features?" And he was like, "Sure."
Connection to database restored. Checking database. Gear voucher detected.
There was an earthquake in New Jersey today? What the fuck? Oh man. Jebo Man apparently did not feel the earthquake though. So my general strategy for the early levels-ish is to get a full suit as fast as possible, because the Link's suit is still as crazy overpowered as it was the first time I did this, where like the set bonus for the Link set, where it just increases your speed when you have high health, it's just so crazy and valuable. And they've realized this too, because one of the implants added in the recent patch for the DLC preparations gives you the Link suit bonus set, just intrinsically, as long as you have the implant equipped. So yeah, we're gonna be sticking with the Link suit, and on the last speedrun, I actually managed to get a full Link suit, I believe, before this area is even over, but this time I do not manage it because I do things in the wrong order, and that actually gimps me for the entire run. Like, I spend almost the entirety of this run without a body, because I killed 1 fewer enemy than I need for the body part. For most of the body parts, you need a pretty even split between 6 and 9. But for the body, you need 12. And I forgot that. Jekka says, so the suit is now worthless because you can just get the implant. Sort of, yeah. Like, until you get that implant, the Link suit is objectively the best suit to wear, because it's the lightest besides the Iron Mouse suit, and it has that bonus that makes you attack faster, which is invaluable in a speedrun. Like, even if you're playing the game normally, like, the Rhino suit is just so much less useful by comparison. But by the time you get that implant, you're gonna have so many more suits available that it's like, well, fuck it, I can just use the implant and then wear another suit for added defense. And you end up with basically 2 set bonuses. Hey, LK713, Surge DLC hype indeed. Yes, the bonuses do stack. Oh, actually, that's a good question. I don't know if they... You know what? Thinking about it, I actually don't know. Like, I wonder if you attack even faster if you stack the implant and the suit bonus. That's a good question. I don't have the game on consoles, so I can't actually check that for myself, but I probably should ask that in the thread. That's a very good question. So yeah, we're going to be taking this first level relatively slow, and I'm doing this for a reason. The reason that I spend a good chunk of the run on the opening level is because this way I am prepared for the rest of it. Like, I don't have to go out of my way to get any parts later on because I have them all by the end of this area. And it doesn't take too long to take out the enemies here. But again, I kind of messed it up on this run specifically, so there's quite a bit of room for improvement. I was almost like 5 minutes ahead, but then I ended up being only a little bit ahead because I laid it out pretty poorly. They broke a bunch of shit on Xbox in the last patch. Like what? Like what broke? All I know about is the stuff that they have added. The new Wolfenstein game is okay. It's more of Wolfenstein. And that's either a good or bad thing, depending on whether you specifically wanted more Wolfenstein. I didn't. I wanted them to make the game better, but they didn't. They just made the same game again. And on the one hand, that's fine. It's worked for a lot of developers these days. But on the other hand, man, I feel like Wolfenstein The New Order had some really intrinsic problems with the gameplay that they straight up didn't address. But that's okay. Still a pretty good game. Oh wow. Apparently the Xbox version of the Surge is just fucked right now. Apparently the game is very, like, crashy because of the stuff that they added for the DLC. What problems? Well, Wolfenstein The New Order, in my opinion, has a lot of problems with player hit feedback, where when you get shot, it's very hard to tell where it's coming from, because enemy muzzle flashes are very small, and the hit marker on your screen is, like, minuscule. Plus, when you have low health, there's not really an overlay or anything like that to show you that you have low health, so in the middle of a firefight you can lose track of your health and then just die, because there is very little signposting of when you have low health. And it's not like you can just look at the number, because it takes a second to process that, and you're in the middle of shooting Nazis, so it's kind of hard to see at a glance how injured you are. And this problem is compounded a little bit in the new Colossus because you only have 50 max health for the majority of the game. Later on you get your 100 health back, but at the beginning of the game, if you don't have a lot of armor, it is very hard to survive on the higher difficulties, because it's just really hard to tell when you're being shot. I also feel like the game doesn't have very good feedback for when you shoot things. Like, enemies just kind of fall apart into bits. Like, they don't go they just kind of go blut, plut, plut, plut. But that's like a personal problem with the design.
Sector online.
So my strategy for this level, generally speaking, is to get all of the body parts on that first run through that warehouse, and then I have them all. So now I can just run back to the ops center, and I can deposit all the parts, get the full body, and then come back and fight the boss with faster attacks, which makes it a lot easier. However, here's what fucked me up for the entire run. That guy that I just killed, I should have taken his body, but I didn't. I hit him in the head instead. And because I didn't get that guy's body, I am one rig armature item short of being able to make the Lynx body. So that's gonna offset my defense for the entire run. Like, I think it takes until research and development for me to finally craft the fucking thing. And even then, it stays at level 1 for the majority of the run. So I kind of made things way harder on myself. But by this point, it had been like 15 minutes, and I was like, ah, screw it, I'll just keep going and see what happens. But anyway, other than that, speaking of Wolfenstein still, it's still a pretty good game. Like, I still enjoy Wolfenstein. I just have some problems. I just have some problems with the gameplay feedback, and they did not solve them. So that kind of sucks. I can't believe C. Jacobs owned himself. Unbelievable, says John Delfinger. And then Ivlam Roadsus corrects him to say, believable. I hope you liked the Ops Center music, because I left it on. I left it and Don's voice on for this run. And I regret that. I should have turned them off, because they get quite grating by the end, especially in R&D. So yeah, my general strategy for this is to first go to the crafting center thingy and see if there's any parts I can upgrade, and then after that I just dump all of my scrap into leveling up. Because I'm going to be using the chainsaw sword thing for the whole thing, like no other weapons, so there's really no point in investing my scrap into anything else.
Come back.
I know, it's actually funny, like playing this without the link set bonus is actually interesting, because I hardly ever do it. Like, when I play this game on my own time, I usually wear the link set for pretty much the whole damn game. What I'm doing right here is I am running around killing some enemies in this first little part to get the right number of scrap to upgrade my weapon. But if you were paying attention a second ago, I was not paying attention when I was doing this, because I was upset at myself for not getting the body. If you were paying attention just now, you might have noticed that I don't have enough parts to upgrade my weapon. And I don't realize this until I stop fucking around out here, go back to the crafting center, and see that I don't have enough parts. So yeah, we are going to be fighting this boss with a level 1 weapon, no set bonus, and like half of the maximum defense that I usually have at this point. Jeboman says, "See, Jacobs is like Jackie Chan. It's not about getting it right on the first try. It's about making sure that it's on camera when you get it right." Yeah, the Chrysalis set also has a good bonus. Okay, I blocked that, but I still took damage, and that bothered me. I was like, damn it. I hate when that happens. John Dolphinger says, "Build a time machine and go back in time and do it better or more." Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will go back and do it betterer. I plan on doing another one of these. Like, honestly, I said this to a friend of mine earlier. The Surge is honestly becoming my favorite Souls-like, quote-unquote, game. Like, I like the Surge better than I like Neo. I like the Surge better than I like the recent Dark Souls games. I like the Surge better than I like Demon Souls. Like, in my opinion, nothing will ever beat Bloodborne. But the Surge sure is right on its fucking tail. Like, this game has so many systems and mechanics that are so kind to the player in ways that are purely beneficial to you, but don't upset the balance of the gameplay that, like, the rest of these damn games could take a lesson from. Stuff like leveling, like reaching the amount of scrap you need to level up, giving you more health consumables, encouraging you to stay away from the ops center so that you can get more scrap, which in turn has a knock-on effect of making leveling up seem more meaningful, because you do it in bigger chunks instead of just incrementally. Things like executions, making you gain more tech scrap. You get a bonus to your tech scrap multiplier every time you execute an enemy, which resets when you go back to the ops center. Again, it's another reason to spend more time out in the game world and optimize your gameplay a little bit. Fight everything in your way instead of running away from enemies. It encourages you to interact with the game and become immersed in it for longer periods without breaking the narrative to, you know, go back and do the RPG element stuff. It's really cool. It is a really, really good system that I have not seen hardly anywhere else in a game of this kind. I just think this game is so cool, and it's got so many good ideas, especially after Lords of the Fallen was so derivative. Like, it's so unique in a way that I think players really don't give it credit for. Reviewers didn't give it credit for it, and it's such a shame, because I really want to see what Deck 13 is going to do next with the gameplay style that they have created with this game, because it's so cool, and the gimmick is so great, and it's just the right amount of complex. Like, there's so much that could be done with this, and I really hope they get a chance to do it, because I love this game! This game is so good! I agree. I think the level design is probably the weakest element of this game. I think it's not bad, but I agree that the level design could be better. Like, this game really is better than anybody could have predicted. So because I accidentally gimped myself so hard, I accidentally made this boss take like a minute or two longer. In the end, what I ended up doing was switching between the arm attachment, this thing, and the sword, just so that I could whittle down its endurance a little faster. And that was not my ideal way of fighting the boss, but it worked. So hey. We did it! That's the first area out of the way. Only 500 years left, and then this run will be over. So yeah, I really like the Surge. I think the Surge is a marvel of game design. Like, this game does not have all that many enemy types. There's one human enemy type for each suit, one human enemy type for each weapon, and then a couple of non-standard enemies like the robo-dogs and the drones and stuff. I feel like this game could have used more enemy types, but at the same time, there's still like 20 enemy types in this game. Like, it's kind of like Neo a little bit, where most of Neo's cannon fodder in the levels is the same basic types of enemies that you see over and over again. But I feel like where it counts, they have enough variety to keep you interested. Like, yes, most of the enemies that you fight in this game are just humans wearing exosuits like you, but they have different weapons and different stats and different armor pieces, and in my opinion that makes it unique enough to keep it interesting. Okay, 713 says, I want to say I wish there were more non-human enemies, but then I play the Nucleus again. Yeah, those crystal guys, they, the crystal, not just the chrysalis armor dudes, but also those big blobby crystal things, those things can suck a goddamn wiener. They're obnoxious. Jacko asks, how do they explain the whole dying is a setback thing in this? They don't. They completely sidestep it. Like, you can just die and come back and your scrap will still be where you died. Which I guess that also works. Like, I mean, I would have liked if they had given it, like, even like a cursory explanation, but, like, just having it be a gameplay mechanic also works, I guess. Also, I got hit there because, you can't get hit during interacting with an object, but you can get hit while Warren is like returning to his normal standing position. So I got hit there. Hey B-Man. Welcome to my 5,000 year run of the Surge.
Have a nice day, Warren.
Okay, calm down with the beeping. So I go out of my way to save Hobbs here, because Hobbs gives you a bunch of Mark II weapon and body parts for free, and I actually kind of need those because it keeps me from having to target enemy body parts and stuff. I can just target the head and keep on going at my normal pace. Because otherwise I would have to slow down to like fight the enemies specifically for their specific parts I need, and this way they're guaranteed. So I lose a little bit of time here for talking to Hobbs and all that stuff, but I gain a little bit of time in the long run because I don't have to fight any of these enemies. If they nicked Soma's thing with "it's your brain installed in a new body," they could have made something interesting, I feel. Yeah, it's like even that little thing of like, if you manage to sustain critical injury in the workplace, your last saved medbay will restore your body to full from a mere consciousness thanks to the Creo implant chip, or some tech bro thing like that. Like, okay, if that... if that was their explanation, I would accept that. Like, it's cheap, but, I mean, whatever. Like, it's cheap, but that's fine. Like, even cheap is better than nothing. Oh yeah, here we go, slow motion. I really should have turned that off for the speed run, but I didn't.
Okay, guys. This is Benberg, so listen up. I don't know if you made it out of recycling. I don't even know if you can hear.
Is it any cheaper than It's All a Dream in Bloodborne? Well, it's not all a dream in Bloodborne. The reason that you can die and come back in Bloodborne is not because it is, like, all a dream world kind of thing. It's because you are a hunter. Like, other hunters don't come back when they die because they're not the protagonist, but you specifically, the reason that you come back when you die is because you have signed a contract and enlisted as a hunter. And it's the reason for that note in the hunter's dream that's like, to escape this terrible hunter's dream, halt the source of the scourge. Like, you can't die until the hunt is over. It's part of your contract. And it's, like, definitely, like, a mystical thing. Like, it's not like you're entering a contract with your boss that says, I will not use my phone on the job. It's definitely got some kind of magical, dreamlike element to it, but they offer a concrete explanation for why you can't actually die, and this game doesn't even go that far. Right, sorry, a hunter. A hunter must hunt. Jeboman says, I wish there was like a world tendency thing where you would become more and more cyborg when you die. That, you know what? That would be pretty cool. I think that would be that's a pretty neat idea. I don't really know how they would implement that, like what gameplay effects that would have, but that would be pretty cool. Like maybe like giving you less max health but more stamina or something. Like the inverse of Dark Souls 2, where the game just says fuck you and cripples you when you die or something like that.
I'm hoping it's safer there. But I'm not leaving.
Am I familiar with the works of Redgrave? That's the guy that makes That's the guy that makes the in-depth Bloodborne videos, right? I think I know who that is. I recognize the name. Okay, I'm gonna turn this up again because it got quieter. In fact, it got way quieter for some reason. That's weird. I don't know why that happened. Hey, here's a little tip for all of you playing the Surge for really fast purposes. Call that elevator and then run back and open this door. Because while you're running back to open the door, the elevator will come up the elevator shaft. Maybe it's like the effect of getting dirtier or bloodier in games, but with more fucked up metal bits sticking out of you. Yeah, maybe. Also, by switching weapons real fast, you can make Warren headbang. What's the point? There is none, but it looks funny. So I'm probably going to do that in every elevator in this entire run. Oh, Redgrave is the guy that wrote the Pale Blood Hunt. The Pale Blood Hunt is like actual college essay length dissertation on Bloodborne and its world that is like multiple pages and chapters long, and it's really good. It's got a lot of speculation that I don't think I really agree with in there, but it's a really good assessment of Bloodborne's world and story and all that stuff. I really like the world of the Surge. I feel like this game's world and the lore and all that stuff are pretty understated. I honestly think the game could have been a little bit less obvious about its themes and a little bit more obvious about its story. And I think people would have liked it a lot more. Because, it's the same thing as The Evil Within, actually, where the story is, kind of hard to decipher, but once you do decipher it, it makes pretty much complete sense. It's just that, why bother? Because the Surge doesn't present its story or its world up front, outside of the tech bro nightmare. The Silicon Valley hell. Outside of that, the world of the Surge doesn't really matter all that much. And I think if they had made it matter a little bit more, the game would be a lot more engaging for people who are interested in that kind of stuff. Have fun getting food, Ratazazzle. I'll still be here. We're gonna be here for the next hour and a half or so. Is The Evil Within 2 getting any DLC? I hope, but I don't know. I don't think they have confirmed anything. They leave a couple of loose ends open, but I don't think they have spoken one way or another about whether they're gonna. Did the game turn itself down again? No. It's weird. The volume is very inconsistent on Windows Media Player, especially when I'm using my auto-ducking thing. I've noticed that when I'm playing music while using it. Okay, 713 says, this game has great lore and setting, but, like, they have this cool villain in the rogue process, and they don't even insinuate that it exists until the 4th level. Yeah, I feel like what this game needed was more of a sense of urgency. Like, as it is, for most of the game, all you're really doing is trying to survive, like, getting from place to place, following Sally's orders to get to the executive forum, but you're never really given a concrete reason why you should do that. Like, Sally says, oh, there's tons of distress beacons here, you should totally believe me, I'm your good friend, Warren, I would never mislead you. But it's like her just saying that isn't really enough to warrant listening to her and caring and paying attention. So yeah, still don't have enough body parts. Still don't have enough. It's kind of fucked. But yeah, the game, it's really interesting, the future that the Surge presents, because it's completely ridiculous. It's completely out of the realm of possibility, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I can see what this is a pastiche of and how it could get out of control in the world we live in. Like, I can see, like, they don't hide the parallels very much, but they are there, and, you know, it's interesting to make those comparisons, because some other games recently, like Horizon Zero Dawn and even Wolfenstein a little bit, discuss this kind of corporate greed run wild sort of thing. And I think it's a really interesting subject to explore in video games. Assassin's Creed also did it to some extent. It's a subject that's not really explored with much depth in a lot of games. You know, there's games like Mirror's Edge where they talk about that whole, like, evil corporation runs the world kind of thing, but you hardly ever actually see it in action because of what the gameplay is like. And so, a game like this, where the gameplay is at the core of the world they've created, I feel like it's very strong. I feel like this game has a very, very strong world. Did you see how I almost just bit it there? Like, you know how when you're on a high place and your butt clenches? That's what happened to me just there. Like my underwear got sucked up into my body temporarily because that was so horrifying of a thing to happen. That was a really weird metaphor. That, like, talking all this depth about gameplay and story design, and then I'm all of a sudden like, heh, butts, by the way. I guess that's why people watch my videos. So this boss gives me a little bit of trouble, because it keeps using moves that keep it away from you and prevent you from being able to hit the center, which I guess is kind of its thing, but it's also pretty annoying. To my credit, I don't get killed by that move, so that's good. But I do have a lot of close calls. I like this boss. This is probably my favorite boss in the game because I just like the Dr. Eggman method of building a giant robot that comes apart in pieces as you beat it up. The Crash Bandicoot Dr. Engine method of boss design. By the way, something I didn't notice until exactly just now, I've played like 100 hours of The Surge, and I only just noticed that being on fire makes it so that your stamina doesn't regenerate. I never noticed that. Hooray, I did it! I was very nervous there because I had no healing items left. That's going to be a concurrent theme for like this whole playthrough, is that I am going to be continually low on healing items and just always making like that traditional trademark C. Jacobs noise. It's just how I do. It turned itself down again. Why? I'm sorry this keeps happening. I don't know why. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll adjust the volume on my end so that it's at 100%, and then I'll turn it down for you guys. Well, I gotta pay attention though, otherwise I'll miss my split.
I'm sorry, but I just can't.
I really hope that Ben Burke is in the DLC. I'm gonna be so mad if Ben Burke's not in the DLC. Because where did he go? Is he a ghost? Is he the Phantom? Exterior like fish eggs?
Next stop, resolve
I'm going to take the maglev to the old biolabs now.
Wait, oh no, it didn't split. Shit. Okay, well that's fine actually. The timer is just for visual purposes, really. Like, the record is the same no matter what. How long is the run total? Right there at the bottom, the nucleus's time is the final time. So it's 2 hours and 26 seconds.
Warning, this is a quarantine zone.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out, I Blame Rotsus. Hopefully you're able to catch the rest of this when your internet comes back. I still don't have a body, by the way.
All potential sources of danger have been eliminated.
So, I didn't do this in my previous speedruns of The Surge, but I am destroying all of the implants that I'm not going to use because it gives you more tech scrap, in addition to clearing up space so that I don't have to navigate through the menu as much. It also lets me level up a few more times. See you later, Albus09. Thanks for hanging out, man. Another key component of my implant setup in this this run is the one that increases your proficiency, because it just makes you do more damage. Like any extra raw damage is especially helpful here, so I kind of just take it whenever I can get it. Also, that thing just fired a laser directly through its own body to hit me. I feel like that's a little bit unfair. Now, coming up here, I make a really stupid decision of running directly to this thing without taking out the enemies in the room, and so, yeah, this is kind of a problem. But unbelievably, I actually made it out of that corner. I have no idea how I survived that. I attribute my survival there to that timed block that I did that threw the guy with the hammer off. Otherwise, I totally would have died there. Also, you saw I just got some tech scrap there because one of the enemies followed me down the elevator shaft and died. No headbanging in celebration, I'm sorry. I forgot. I very quickly forgot that I could do that. I think it turned itself back down again. It fucking did! What is this? What is going on? weird.
As we
It's
like
so
to say,
fucking weird.
at Creo, we're
I'm
all
sorry the volume has been so inconsistent on this. I don't know what's happening. Next time I do one of these, I'll play it in VLC so that the volume will hopefully be consistent. Or, okay, here's what I'll do. We'll just keep the volume at a consistent level, and I'll turn off my auto ducker. Hopefully that'll resolve the problem. That'll project resolve the problem. Yep, that's right. The doggos, they have returned with a vengeance, fuck me up. And I don't think I get killed by one of them in this playthrough. I don't think. The night is still young, I guess. I know, I pre-recorded the video and still managed to get owned by the volume control. Like, what? So, R&D is pretty short. There's no boss in this area, so this is probably the shortest area to run through. And yet, I actually still lost time in this segment by like 10 or 15 seconds because, I don't remember why, actually. I don't remember where I lost time here. I think it's because I got stuck by those 3 enemies, I think. I don't remember. That's right, it is a world record for recording my commentary. But anyway, to clear up any, like, weirdness about the timer, the times that you see on the right, on the timer right now, those are my final times. Like, those are the actual times for this run that I took when I was recording the run. The only problem is that it didn't record the timer. So all of those times there, you do not get to see them actually be split at those times. Instead, I'm just kind of approximating it in post. Oh, this is where I lost time, right. I decided that I had had enough of not having a body, so, like, I decided to go out of my way to kill this guy to get the last body part I need. Edge of Tomorrow is an alright movie. It's a good concept for a movie. Oh yeah, I also fought this guy to get him out of my way, because I don't want to get trapped between this guy and a doggo, so I kind of was like, nope, no thanks. Sci-fi Groundhog Day. Yeah, that's kind of what Edge of Tomorrow is like. Live and learn, hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Live and learn from the works of yesterday, hey. It's like that Sonic the Hedgehog song. I was very lucky to not get hit there. Like, you can't get hit while you're interacting with things, but that doesn't mean the enemy is just gonna go away. So we're pretty much at the end of the area now. We just have to make it, Oh, did you see that dodge? That was the clutchest shit. I would have died if I had gotten hit by that. It's just these last 2 enemies we have to kill. And it actually takes a while, because they decide to guard each other instead of coming after me, which is kind of annoying. I hate you, Dr. Chavez. You're so annoying. Like, everything about Dr. Chavez just sucks. Like, they could have had her moved to somewhere that wasn't such a pain in the ass to come back and see her afterwards. She's so nagging, too. Like, she's just got this, like, annoying, self-righteous personality that kind of bothers me. It's just an annoying character archetype, which, I mean, maybe if that's what they were going for, that's fine, but she's kind of a jerk, even though she has no real reason to be a jerk to me.
Is it safe?
Hey, B-Man, welcome back. Waiting for her to open this door is also very painful because it takes like 15 seconds.
You can keep the power.
Yeah, the jump and the duck are kind of useless, but if you can find uses for them, they become a pretty good, like, niche kind of move that you can do. Like, there are a lot of attacks that it seems like you shouldn't be able to duck or jump over, that you totally can. And now, finally, I believe, it is time for me to get my goddamn body. I think that's what I'm here to do right now. Like, I have done, like straight up almost half of this run without the Lynx gear bonus, and I lost so much time overall because of the slower attack speed. But we're finally about to rectify that, thankfully.
Look out.
So when I do another speedrun of the Surge, I am absolutely going to route that first level better, and that is going to save me so much time. It's gonna save me so much time. Hey, look! That split. I almost got that one exactly to the second. Cool. Good luck with that, Jocko. It has not yet started snowing here. Very briefly it snowed one day, but it's been relatively quiet on that front where I live, thankfully. See, I live in the Midwestern U.S., like, middle of winter, like, we start getting a hell of a lot of snow at some point. But that has not happened yet. And man, that guy flew like a rock skipping across the water. But it's coming. Like, the storm is coming. I know it is. I'm gonna take out these enemies because I need more tech scrap. French Toast says, we had some really wet snow today. It was basically just rain at 0.8% speed. Or 0.8 times speed.
Deployment in our atmosphere has led to some...
Yeah, it was nice out here today, which is weird. It's very weird to have like a string of days where it's like 20, 30 degrees, sometimes with freezing rain, and then just a day that it's just 60 degrees out of nowhere, and then immediately back to being cold again. That's what they say. That's what they say about the Midwestern U.S. People have been saying this to me since the day I was born, pretty much. If you don't like the weather in Illinois, wait 5 minutes and it'll change. Like, people have been saying that to me for so long that I've started saying that now. It's like cross the gap between generations.
Creo is family.
Boy, oh boy. Look at you.
So Irina is here.
Normal and that.
Even though I didn't do the first part of Irina's questline and gave her the didn't give her a weapon, I've been trying to work out the minutia of her questline because she shows up in all. Bye. She shows up in all 3 locations, regardless of whether you give her the armor, or the weapon, or anything like that. And what I assume now, what I think, is that you have to give her the stuff both times, even if she shows up at all 3 locations. Like, if you skip a step, she still doesn't show up at the final spot. You just have to do... So, I'm running back here to open the shortcut. The op center or not. I do, okay. Just to see if there's any upgrades I can get at this point. Big Sister gives me some trouble in most of the runs of the Surge that I do. I remember there was, I think it was the first run. I don't think it was the second run. I got stuck on that fight for a little while. But this time I beat it on the first try. By the skin of my goddamn teeth, but I did. And that surprised me, because it basically means that I made this trip for no reason. But, you know, it's just a security measure, just in case. So yeah, we're going to be dicking around here for a minute, but then we get right back to it. drinking as you're watching this? I am drinking Arizona lemonade tea. It's basically like someone put lemonade and regular tea in a jar and just kind of shook it up a bunch and then poured it into a glass. It's okay. I've spoken about this a couple of times across many months since it happened, but Arnold Palmer recently died this year, and they have continued to put Arnold Palmer's face on the bottle, like on the jug, and it kind of unnerves me when I pick up the jug and see Arnold Palmer's smiling face, because it's like, man, Arnold Palmer, you sure are dead. Rest in peace, I guess. It's good. It's tasty. We got water, we got Coke Zero, and sadness. Water and sadness. Riz Death Blossom is drinking his tears. So most of my deaths in this boss fight come from getting greedy, and that's kind of what I have learned over the course of speedrunning the Surge, is if you get greedy, you might as well be like, Elmer Fudd or Daffy Duck when they feel like an idiot and their head turns into a lollipop because they're a sucker. Like, it's kind of your fault if you get greedy and then eat shit for it. So, because you can pretty easily avoid the consequences of that by just not getting greedy. And yet still, human nature dictates that I try to sneak in just one more hit, just one more little bit of damage before I get hit, and then it'll be okay, right? No. It's never okay. A very important part of running a game like this is being fucking careful. And I'm never careful. I'm never careful. Like, I have a feeling that as soon as I start being more careful while I'm doing these runs and less ballsy, I will start having a lot less trouble. Yeah, I also like this boss. I like that... Ouch! I like that you have the ability to make this boss easier or harder, like, on your own time. Like, if you don't want to take out those flamethrower thingies, then you don't have to. But if you take out the burners, they can't reach you. Like, I always take out only 2 of them there, because there's no point in taking out all 4, because when I'm up here, they can't reach me. But if all 4 are still present, they can. So it's worth it to only take out 2 of them, because then they're not a problem while you're trying to focus on fighting this big dumb robot. In at least one parallel universe, all gambits you ever attempt pay off. I really do love... I said this last time, but I really love the arcadey kind of camera angle they have for this boss that makes, like, Warren seem like he's, like, a tiny little, like David fighting a Goliath. Like, it's pretty good. It's clever, and I like it. I like it a lot. I'm gonna turn down the game audio just a little bit. I hope it hasn't been too loud, like, because I didn't ask. Usually I asked, but I figured it was okay. But as for all I know, it might not have been okay, so fuck. But hey, look, I beat it on the first try, and I actually did surprisingly well. So, hey, definitely could have been worse. I wasn't even at a dearth of healing items either. Like, that went pretty okay. I'm pretty proud of myself for how well that fight went, given how woefully unprepared for it I was. This is fun. I like commentating on the runs in post better than I do live, I think. Because it's always funny to hear me go, ah, fuck, nuts, balls, wieners, when I get hit. But I think it's better to have this kind of perspective where I can do it in post and reflect on my decisions and mistakes. Yeah, I said Darth. You know, like that Star Wars character, Darth Vader. Am I a speed boy at this game? Yeah, I am a speed boy at this game. I'm pretty good at the Surge. Except for this area. See, this surprised me. Research and development is actually where I lose most of the time in this run, because I die in this area, very far away from a checkpoint, like an idiot.
Was Rome built in a day?
And it's my fault, too, I believe. I believe that the reason that I die in this area, if I'm remembering right, the reason that I die in this area is totally, completely my fault. So, I can't even blame the game for it. Oh man, French Toast is right. French Toast says, when you're a world champ, you can't say swears because now you're a role model for the kids. It's true. So any children, any impressionable children that may be watching this run of the Surge, don't ever say fuck or shit or piss. Don't ever say those. They're bad words, and you should practice brushing your teeth at night before you go to bed. Good hygiene. Is that...
I must say I'm surprised management was
Can I get, like, sponsored by Crest for saying that? Is Crest willing to sponsor my runs of the Surge?
I'm Dr. Dean Barrett.
I'm willing to talk, like, the praises of Crest. Sure.
Apologies, of course you know all that. So,
Crest! It's what your teeth crave!
we'd hate to waste your time now, wouldn't we? Please,
Is your mouth unhappy?
find everything
Crest
in order.
body
Prepare everything for our
toothpaste is gonna make your teeth real happy. That's for sure. Just rub Crest all over your neck and chest. It's great for relieving congestion in your teeth. Tooth congestion. Oh, there we go. I think that was the first of like 3 deaths. That's not the death I was talking about, though. That one kind of actually was bullshit.
Happy to help.
Crest makes your dick bigger. Your teeth dicks.
Does a garden symbol was Rome built in a day?
I should get sponsored by Surge. You're right, actually. The thing about this area is that I really have nothing tactically to say about this area. Like, you just kind of gotta run through it. Like, there's nothing specifically about this area that you have to do differently from anywhere else. You're just kind of making your way to the boss, and it's a mostly linear path with some shortcuts that I neglect to open because I'm a dumbass. Radis Ezla says, please don't say teeth dicks ever again. Okay, I won't. The Surge, sponsored by Crest, the toothpaste of Creo. Crest, the toothpaste of corporate sabotage. I believe this gives me trouble too. Usually those guys in the back de-aggro when you run into the maintenance tunnel, but this time they didn't, so yeah, this is kind of a problem. It's a miracle that I didn't die there, because I'm like 1 or 2 steps away from the shortcut, and if I died there, I probably would have screamed very loudly. So loudly that it would have picked up on the recording, even though I wasn't recording my microphone. Creost. LK713 says, so I just noticed the title of this screen, and on the one hand, your time is super impressive, but on the other hand, LMAO, it's the world record for the Surge. Oh, don't worry. I have just enough self-awareness to understand that that is a ridiculous concept to be proud of. Like, I'm very proud of my record run of the Surge. Like, hell yeah, it's another video game that I can say that I'm faster than anybody else in the world at. Well, except for the people that run through walls, but they don't count. Also, I didn't make that jump again, even on a speedrun. I can play the Surge faster than anybody else without using glitches. And I'm proud to say that. But at the same time, not like there's very healthy competition for it, is there? Like, unlike a lot of speedrunners out there who act like speedrunning is the most important thing mankind has ever done, I acknowledge that speedrunning is a very silly hobby to have. But it's still pretty fun. It's still fun and entertaining. The fastest surger in the West. Okay, 713 says, I made that jump on my first try in my last run, and I thought of you and laughed smugly. That's fine. People love to laugh at my expense. They do it all the time. People have been laughing at my expense for my entire life. How is this any different? Was I wearing a tracksuit endorsed by Creost toothpaste while recording this? No. I was wearing my underwear because it was hot on the day that I did this. The surge makes my computer run very hot, so I just kind of hang out in my underwear and pajama pants when I'm playing games like this. So for all of you that want that sexy C. Jacobs Barra fan art, well, there you go. Draw me in my pajama pants. Do I need a hug? No, I like hugs. Hugs are alright. Like, I don't require hugs, but yeah, I'll accept a hug. Sure, hugs are great.
Please follow the emergency protocols and proceed to the nearest secure area.
Res Death Blossom says, your view of speedrunning is actually the reason you're my favorite speedrunner, in quotes. Hey, thanks. That's very kind of you to say. I really, you know what? It always makes me feel good when people say that I am their favorite whatever, like Let's Player, speedrunner, or whatever. It's nice. It is very rewarding to know that someone out there likes me. That's nice. So we're going to be chopping the arms off of the Proteus robots, because the Proteus robots are the first enemy type that gives Mark III weapon parts. So I want to get it as early as possible, because from here on the enemies start having an absolute shitload of health, and that sucks. Oh my god, shut up, Don. So there's actually a bug with this game. Well, maybe it's not a bug. It might be by design. But the first time you cut off a body part that has a weapon on it, whether it's like the twin rigged weapons or just a right-handed weapon, you do not get the weapon parts. So usually you have to cut off 3 weapon arms in order to get the you need to cut off 3 weapon arms in order to be able to upgrade your weapon. However, you actually need to cut off 4, because the first one does not give you any weapon parts. Also, I almost just got killed by this stupid goddamn vacuum cleaner, and I was about to be so distraught. Just utterly but devastated. The Elite Hazard guys drop tier 3 stuff too? Okay, well, it's at around this point in the game. Either way. I guess this is the earliest point at which it's convenient for me. The vacuum cleaners are insane. They're like they're beasts in disguise. B-Man says, C. Jacobs has introduced me to an interesting way to view what games are fun. What is that, B-Man? A game is fun if you enjoy playing it. Yeah. Like, yeah, sure. I'd agree with that. Like, I enjoy games that are on an objective level pretty damn bad. Like, I like some games that have some very intrinsic flaws that are unignorable. But, you know, I like playing the game, so it doesn't really matter. I think this is the last Proteus robot I cut the arm off of. I'm pretty sure. Also, I believe the death that I was talking about is actually in the executive forum. I had my areas confused. I think I make it through here without dying again. the executive forum, I lose a lot of damn time, which is a shame. But it actually plays out to my benefit in a way that I will explain when we get there. Hey, Gaming Wolf. Gaming Wolf says, want to hear a dark joke? How did 10 die? Wow! Gaming Wolf comes screaming into the chat with, want to hear a dark joke? How did 10 die? He was in the middle of 9/11. That's like that's a Norm Macdonald joke. Holy hell! What a way to introduce yourself to the chat. Casual fun, sure. That's what I would say that I have when I play video games. Like, there's no reason to make your entire life be about the quality of a video game. If it's bad, then it's bad, but you can still enjoy it. I know, what a fucking joke! Jesus, God! That is one hell of a joke. Oh, so this room kind of sucks on a speedrun. Someone in the thread for the Surge, I cannot recall who it was, unfortunately. Someone in the thread was explaining why the speedrun is kind of backloaded. Like, someone in the thread for the Surge asked why this speedrun, it has like 60% of it in the back half of the game, the last 2 or 3 areas. And the reason for that is because there are way more enemies that you have to fight. Like, this room is the first example, but sometimes this game will just dump like 10 enemies on you and say, hey, by the way, you can't proceed until you kill all these motherfuckers. And this room is one such one. In this case, it's optional, I guess. Like, in this case specifically, you probably can get away with kiting around the normal Proteus guys and taking out only the boss, but good mother damn luck. Good luck. It is. I would not even try it for fear of the time that you would lose doing that. It's much faster to just take them all out. HVeer says, to be honest, I misread that joke as meaning he was in the middle of a 911 call and was very confused, because I forgot. See, I don't know if that's a joke in itself, or like... Oh, this guy gets in my fucking way, and it's so agonizing. Like, I don't know if he also was making a joke there, like, it's so meta. But anyway, going down that tunnel was actually a mistake. I meant to go down this one, but I just wasn't looking in the right direction and I forgot. Because this overcharge station is how you open the way to the boss. Oh, hello. Hi. LK713 says, I don't like that those enemies are invincible until they're in the process of standing up again. I actually agree with that. Another thing I don't like, I think they fixed this for most of them, but they didn't fix it for the boss, is that, oh my god, hi! Is that, you don't get any tech scrap for killing them if they die from bleeding out after you cut their body apart. Like that guy didn't technically die from me hitting him there, he died from bleeding out, so, unpatched, I wouldn't have gotten any tech scrap from killing him. But that still applies for the boss, which kinda sucks. Hello. This guy is extremely dangerous, by the way. This guy attacks very fast, and the penalty for dying to him is very high, because you have to fight all those enemies again. And him, he just runs straight out, and it's, oof, it's a killer, it really is. On the bright side, I got to cut his head off, and you know what, that's quite satisfying. But then his body gets back up, and you have to murk his body too. I think that's kind of clever. I think it's kind of clever that the boss plays by the same rule as the enemy type that he is, like, a part of. Also, out of healing items here, and I was pretty damn nervous. I was very nervous.
So tell me, who is the real monster?
Okay, Gaming Wolf. Calm down, man. Don't get big for your britches. Also, I'm gonna kill Dr. Barrett because I hate him. You don't have to. This is not, like, integral to the speedrun or anything, but I was willing to sacrifice the time to kill this asshole because I really hate him. Cannot stand that man. So yeah, R&D cost me quite a bit of time because of having to kill the enemies for their parts and that death I had. But overall, at this point, I think I was still ahead by like 16, 15 minutes. So, like, I wasn't really sweating it. I think I lost like a minute maximum. Also, something I didn't know until recently is that you can avoid getting stunned by those guys' taser if you are in the middle of a dodge when it hits you. I guess because they didn't want to have the animation break. So, hey, here's a tip for you. So, the executive forum split is kind of a pain in the ass. This split is actually 3 different levels, which is why it's got such a giant gap. So, like, starting from here, there is about a half an hour split here, because there's no good way for me to set it up. Like, this run from central production to the security area is very short, so there would be no point in having there be a split there. Also, still very nervous at this point because I still have no healing items. Check out how much health this hit takes off of me. Jesus Christ, I'm cutting it close. But, this little run here is very short, so there'd be no point in having a split there. But the executive forum and the security area are just one area. Like, it's two areas with no loading screen between them. So technically, it's still one area, which would make it very hard to split, because if I die in the executive forum, I restart at the ops center in the security area. So you can see where the problem is. The Chronic Depression Millennials Club. That's right. Welcome. If I ever get a Twitch partnership for whatever reason, that's what I'm gonna call my that's what I'm gonna call my subscriber base. Like, some people are like, "Hey, welcome to the couch. Welcome to the wolf pack. Welcome to the dragon's den." I'm gonna say like, "Hey, welcome to the Chronic Depression Club."
Happy to help.
Okay, Gaming Wolves. my dear friend Gaming Wolf, your jokes are starting to border on being a little bit racist, so I would say maybe calm it down, man. Like, you know, like, it's funny, but like, I'm kind of getting a little bit uncomfortable at this point, man. We're the cronies! That's good! I like it. I like it. The cronies. Oh man, but John Dilfinger comes bearing the Euro beats, and those are also good. That's really good. That's really good. I like that. So, welcome to my nightmare. This area is home to, in order of annoyance, from least annoying to most annoying, a very long and winding area. Not that bad, you know, I can handle that. You know, R&D is also the same way. Full of moderately tough enemies that I can only survive a few hits from. Also not that bad, because I've got the links set, so I can just dodge them really quick. It's full of one of my least favorite bosses in the game, who can kill me in one hit with any of his attacks, pretty much. Which really sucks. And then the shittiest part is that the shortcuts are all very, very far away from the ops center, so if you die, there is a large penalty. And guess what I did in this fucking run, I died almost directly near the end of the executive forum area, and I was very upset about it. I also died to the black Cerberus here, but, you know, that's kind of, honestly, that's kind of expected at this point. I think I have died to the black Cerberus on every speedrun of this game I've done. So yeah, this area gives me the most trouble. And I would say that for the next speedrun, this area and the first area have the most room for improvement by like 5 to 10 minutes apiece. Also, we just kind of have to hang out and let this little cutscene here play out, which takes like a solid minute and is quite annoying. There's nothing you can do about this either. Like, if you quit out of the game, the cutscene just restarts. And if you run in and die, obviously you have to wait and then run back. So, like, there's no way to make these guys respawn other than just waiting for them to go. Kind of sucks, but the alternatives are slower, so. Although jumping down and starting a fucking riot down there with like 8 enemies and the boss in the same room, that's pretty fun, and there's no way you're gonna survive it. But it's pretty fun. The square prompt was for observing the cutscene. Sometimes when there's a cutscene, you can hold square to look at it a little closer. It'll give you a better camera angle. So, Black Cerberus. Other than dying to this man, which I believe is coming up very soon, other than dying to this man, he doesn't take much damage from my attacks and can kill me in one hit with pretty much any of his. So we're gonna have some problems with Black Cerberus as usual. Riz Death Blossom asks, what do you think your next best possible time would be? I would say probably like an hour and 45 minutes is as fast as I can go. I would say that with the improvements that I plan on making that I've talked about so far, I would say that my best possible time is probably an hour and 45 minutes. Also, there you go. Direct hit, killed me in one hit with the shield up. Utterly ridiculous. But to be fair, by this point you're usually like level like, I don't know, like 50 or something with like all level 3 equipment, so hey. Usually you're not in as poor condition as I am to fight this boss. Second death out of, I believe, 3. How does a crazy person walk through the woods? He takes the psychopath, says Gaming Wolf. Okay, sure, yeah. You know what? Okay, you're back on track, Gaming Wolf. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I think. It's a very mixed bag, these jokes that he has brought. So, the Black Cerberus... I like this boss, actually. Like, I know that I shit on this boss because I don't like enemies that can regain their health in video games. Like, that's a thing that I complain about whenever it shows up. But I also like that they give you a way to stop that. Like, it's cool that if you play kind of clever, you can get rid of his gimmick, and then it's basically just a fight against a really armored opponent that does a lot of damage and has like a special effect on his weapon. And that's cool. Like, I think this boss is really clever, even though this boss is a giant pain in the fanny. For those of you that haven't played the game, or who don't know about it, the way to keep him from getting his health back between fighting these PAX robots is to have the PAX robot target these white machine things, with your hint for that being that these same machines are also in there. Like, if you look behind the robot, you can see that he's hooked up to the machines and regaining his health. So, you can get it to shoot the machines, and then he can't regain his health anymore. That's not a very good joke, John Delfinger. That's a sad joke. That's almost as sad as just being kicked right in the fucking face. hate that attack. Like, that attack has such a small windup, it really sucks. Also, hitboxes. Damn it. I could have done this on, I could have done that way faster. I probably could have taken him out in one cycle if I hadn't gotten stuck on his sword. No, I have to run away. You have to run away from the boss in order to make him do the projectile thing. So he kind of trolled me here a little bit. He kind of, like, he was being kind of a jerk with some of his moves in this round. Like, usually when he is in melee range, he doesn't hop back like he's doing now. Usually he just sticks to his melee moves, but at some point, I think they might have made him a little smarter, because now he will actively jump away from you and then use his sliding attack, which tracks you to a pretty insane degree. So, the strategy for this boss is pretty simple, really. Like, you just kind of want to circle around him in your chosen direction. I go left because most of his attacks come from that direction, so it's easier to escape them because you can see like the crescent shape of the attack. But circling around to the right also would work. There are a couple different strategies for fighting this guy in a way that makes it easier. Like me, I'm using the shield drone in case I get hit, but you also can knock him over with the concussive drone and get a couple hits in. I gotta say, cutting off this dude's head, very satisfying. Very satisfying. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I try so hard, can't rise above it. Do you remember that song? I remember that song. That song played a lot on the radio. My parents were big into country music when I was younger. Now, not so much anymore. I'm actually named after a country song, so is my sister. There's a hint for you if you want to know the elusive C. Jacobs name, I guess. I'm actually named after a country song, and so is my sister, but it's strange. As the times changed into the late 90s and early 2000s, my parents lost their affinity for country music. And so it kind of like stopped being a part of my life and my family. That's right, Jolene.
Knowing you're out there.
Yeah, add this to the C. Jacobs wiki. The quickly growing C. Jacobs meme wiki. That's right, the C stands for colon. You guessed it. You remember that country song that's all about the health of your colon? So under normal circumstances, I would be pretty annoyed with taking so many hits from the vacuum cleaner. However, there is a consumable recharge station halfway through the executive forum, so it's okay for me to use all of my consumables here because I know I've got a free recharge coming up, so... Hey, that's right. Good old country boy C. Jacobs. Y'all like country music? What if we took good music and made it not that way? It's country music. Ah, there's some good country music. I like folk music more than country music specifically. So, I didn't come down here in the last speedrun because this costs like a minute or so of time, but there is a max level vital injection and health boost in this little tunnel here. So, I have made it a point to go out of my way to get this, just so that I have some extra healing for later on in the game. I almost forgot this was here. I almost passed right by it, but then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. When I was doing my stream recently, I found this. Why do I never use the Medivoltaic injector? Because I only really ever use energy for the drone and and cutting off limbs. Like, this is a me thing. I have a problem switching to other consumables in the middle of a fight. Like, I always try to have the health injectors selected, And I actually kind of wish that they had gone with the Bloodborne method and made the health injectors have a separate button for using them. Because, as it is, it's kind of hard for me personally to swap between upgrades. Like, I just don't have that kind of dexterity. So that's why I don't do it. Because it's just hard for me to remember, find a spot to do it, and then hit the right button at the same time. Hey, thanks, XNK. XNK says, see, Jacobs, as far as I'm concerned, the C stands for cool guy, because that's what you are. Okay, Gaming Wolf. Okay. Gaming Wolf said, how does Moses make his tea? He brews it. You know what, Gaming Wolf? That's a good compromise. That's a good compromise between mentioning ethnic and racial backgrounds in your jokes and not having it be offensive. Okay. Also, this guy kicks my face in, and it's very upsetting. Like, this one guy is the bane of my existence. LK713's strategy is 2 vital injectors, the Medivoltaic, and 1 of the heal over time ones. Yeah, that's, I feel like that's a good compromise. LL Cool Jacobs. Yup, that's me. You guessed it. So, I accidentally skipped an implant there. There is an implant in the back corner in the room with that Cerberus armor guy, but there's fucking good news. The good news is I'm gonna be going through there again, because I bite it real hard in this segment, and it's a real shame.
Entry permitted.
What if my name actually is C? Like, my name is just a letter. Also, this guy was pretty kind to me. He's beaten me up here pretty bad. And then... wait for it. Whoop, 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 whoop. He gets out of my way. Well, hey, thanks, guy. But yeah, the executive forum is a very large area, so it kind of sucks if you die here. Like, if you die here at this part, like, this sets you back a long goddamn way. Very upsetting.
Access granted.
Access granted. Hey look, it's a health item recharge station. I really am gonna make good use of that instead of dying instantly in, like, no time flat without a chance to heal.
Identity confirmed.
This is where I thought the implant was. I thought this was the implant I wanted, but it's not. It's the Medivoltaic injection implant. So I kind of screwed myself there because I aggroed those guys. So this thing, this Robodog here, this is why dying in this segment isn't actually so bad. Because if you do die here, there's like a weird positional change with that enemy, where that enemy will spawn on the other side of that gate over there. There's a yellow barrier there that prevents you from getting up the stairs, and also the dog. So if you die here and come back, the dog is on the other side of the stairs, so you don't have to fight it. And I don't know why that is. It's really weird. I can't tell if that's on purpose or not. But, hey, I fucking get to take advantage of it.
Security level clear. Access granted. Lockdown deactivated.
What is the sad fanfare noise I make occasionally?
Standard parameters.
What? Which one? The womp womp one?
Deactivated.
The womp womp. That one? I don't know. I just do that because I don't think I get that from anywhere.
Have been resumed.
There's also the ba-da-ba-da-ba-bow that I do whenever something incredibly embarrassing happens. Like, for example, ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum. Womp. So that's kind of a pain in the ass, because I have only opened one of the shortcuts in this area. And so now I have to run back a very long way. I don't know where that second one comes from. I know that the first one doesn't come from somewhere, but I think the second one does. Yeah, I don't recognize it either. But I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. So thankfully now we have more than enough health to survive a couple of hits. Like, we're pretty good on health now. Now I need to focus on getting more healing, because I get hit a lot because I'm bad at video games. Hey Jacko, welcome back. Weird issues. So yeah, now we have to run all the way back, take the elevator, go all the way around, through that shortcut that I opened near the consumable restore thing, and we're just gonna kind of have to make our way downtown, and that's gonna take a little while. It's like how a Muppet sketch would end. That's Reading Rainbow, I think that one is. I'm fighting this guy because I have nothing else to do while I wait for the elevator. At this point, I need all of the tech scrap that I can get, because my goal now... See, now I have all of the equipment that I need for the end game, but I just need more tech scrap so that I can level up and get there to equip it. So I'm going to be going out of my way to fight a couple of enemies. Yeah, the Price is Right losing horn is what I go to when I think of that ditty that I do. But no, it will forever be a mystery. Hey Zenerdy. Yes, this is a full run. This is the whole damn shebang. This is post commentary. Just before I bring up the Windows Media Player interface and confuse the hell out of anyone who joined after I started. That's a very strange joke, Gaming Wolf. I don't know if that one is really a joke. I don't know if, I don't really like that one. I don't know. I feel like that one's kind of rude. So somehow, I made it so that these things don't aggro on me. I don't know how I did it. But yeah, they just kind of stand here and let me beat them up. And then they're like, wait a minute, oh my god, there's a guy! Now, unfortunately, I died at probably the worst point for it, because I opened the door to the boardroom and then died. So I didn't actually go in the boardroom, which starts the cutscene, spawns all of the guys out here, and makes it so that you can go to the next area. So now, what I have to do is kill these guys, then go into the boardroom, then these guys spawn, and I have to come back out, kill them all over again, and then the area ends. And that costs me, I think that cost me like straight up like 5 or so minutes, because that sucks. Yeah, I've deemed myself, I've decided to keep Gaming Wolf around because his jokes are very hit or miss. Like, it's very strange. Like, under most circumstances, like, I don't know if I would support that behavior, Gaming Wolf, because you're not really talking about my speedrun of the Surge that we're all talking about. But the jokes are alright from time to time. And I'm a pretty lenient person. Like, maybe a little too lenient sometimes. So anyway, yeah, Sally's gonna be doing her stupid cutscene thing while we beat on these guys. Thankfully, they don't follow you into the boardroom because I feel like that would interrupt the cutscene. So I just kind of got a free chance to get that guy out of my way. Thankfully, though, I do not die in this segment where you have to kill all these enemies, because that, I would rage quit if that happened, especially after the death that I just had. Like, Jesus Christ. LK713 says, I'm really not sure what happened to the board. I think they just died in the surge, probably. Like, I think what we are supposed to gather is that Sally is responsible for the surge, sort of. Like only kind of responsible for the surge. And like most of the board members are dead because they already cast their votes for Project Utopia, and so they have no more use being alive to Sally. But the one guy that's still undecided is important for her to keep alive. So since the surge, she has been keeping that specific guy alive, waiting for us to get there and presumably decide the vote. But in order to get into the boardroom, we had to short out Sally, and so it's kind of a little bit too late now. So yeah, I think the timeline of events is basically at around the time that Warren was getting his surgery and like passed out in the junkyard, being carried off to be put in the scrap heap, that is when the surge actually happened. But before that, it was mostly down to corporate disorder. Like, all of the messages around the executive forum talk about like how the various board members and CEOs and stuff are all fighting for what they think is the right solution to save the planet, what Creo should focus on, like, economically. And I think that disorder is what basically caused things to fall apart, and from there they voted on Project Utopia. And at that point, Sally was like, wait a minute, that's probably not a good thing, because the nanobots are going to infect the rocket, and they don't know anything about that. And so the surge happened, either caused by Sally, or, like, just, like, I don't want to say a coincidence, but, like, at that moment, the surge happened after they had cast their votes, leaving everybody else dead except for the one undecided guy who Sally personally kept alive for this whole journey. Why didn't Sally just tell us what was going on? I assume that Sally didn't tell us what was going on because then we wouldn't have listened. Like, Sally... The first thing Sally tells you is, hey, up here in the executive forum, we've got a bunch of distress beacons that'll send out help. And I assume that if she told Warren, like, hey, all this stuff is caused by a bunch of corporate fuckery and there's actually no way out and you're stuck here, even if you resolve the problem, he would really not have any incentive to do it, you know? Like, I think he still would have, because, I mean, he's the player character and he has his own agency, technically speaking, even though he's guided by the plot. I think he still would have done it, it's just that there wouldn't have been any incentive to. Like, thus far, he has been guided along by the incentive of rescue, but now Warren, the character, knows about the nanobots and stuff, and so now it is his goal to stop all that shit, to save humanity and all that. Jeboman says, I like how a million things are wrong at Creo, so it doesn't really matter what fucked up since it was inevitable. Yeah, pretty much. We're almost done. Can you believe that? We are entering the nucleus, which takes a while. The nucleus specifically takes a while just because it's a very large area. Like, I think I die a little bit. I think I die once or twice in the nucleus, but I beat the final boss on the first try, and so the nucleus is just a very large vertical area. LK713 says, I like how there's 2 or 3 audio logs where people try to warn others on the outside and get interrupted by the Creo secret police cutting their feed. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Creo pretty much just sucks. I agree with Jebo Man. I like that Creo is kind of like a series of very important, large failures. Jebo Man says, it helps this game avoid the individualist story about how bad things happened because the bad guy was a bad person. Right. And one thing I also appreciate is how the game sets you up to believe that Jonah Gutenberg, the CEO of Creo, is gonna be, like, not necessarily the final boss, but at least an antagonist, because from the beginning you pretty much hear nothing else about him other than he really believes in Creo. But by the end of the game, he's like you. He is disillusioned, he doesn't believe in it anymore. They betray me, I'm fed up with this world, and I don't care anymore. Like Tommy Wiseau says. So, I think it's kind of cool that they turn that on its head, like right at the end. But yeah, it's pretty much like every element of Creo comes together to fuck over humanity here. And it's kind of cool. I like that story. I really like this game's world and story. I feel like they are very strong. In a way that people don't really give it credit for because it's kind of it's obfuscated a little bit. And that's a shame. It's a shame that it is obfuscated, but if you bother to dig a little bit, it's there. And that's, hey, it's pretty cool. So, we have reached an impasse where my body, my Link suit body has been level 1 for this entire thing, and I'm a little bit tired of it at this point. So, we spend a couple of minutes fighting this dude, because this dude gives you Mark IV parts, and he's right outside the Ops Center, so I figure I might as well. And I become very efficient at fighting this specific guy. I think I spend like 3 or 4 minutes killing him over and over again. And it's kind of annoying, but, I mean, it's just what I had to do to make sure I was properly geared up for the endgame, so I make good use of the duck move here. Like, ducking under these guys' attacks is extremely effective at taking them out. You suck! Get the fuck out of here! I should become the Surge lore master and compile the story so that the game can be properly appreciated. I planned on it. I planned on doing something like that for, like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm going to do a Let's Play of this game. I want to. It would be cool, but I've got a lot of Let's Plays planned already, so if I do, it's going to be quite some time before I do it. It's so satisfying to knock an enemy on their face like that. God. But then he gets his hit in, and it makes me feel bad. Am I still on track to world record? As a matter of fact, I'm so on track that this isn't even being recorded live. I already have the record. This is all post-commentary. But yeah, someday I would like to Let's Play this game. I think that would be pretty cool. Because this is a really good game, and I want more people to see it and know about it and, like, think critically about how the mechanics and systems of this game are so unique and well thought out. It's hard to get a sense of that if you just hear some dickhead's review of it in text on Destructoid, where he says, "Oh, the game's sound design is kind of lackluster. I played it with headphones from 30 feet away." Fuck it. Fuck games journalism. Play games for yourself. This game got pretty good reviews, actually. Like, this game got pretty good reviews, with most of the criticism being that it is derivative of Souls games. Which it's not! This game is like Neo. This game is probably as far away from the Souls games in concept as you could get. Like, the gameplay is kind of similar. Like, it's got a similar gameplay base, but it's so frustrating to read reviews of this game where people compare it to Dark Souls. because it is I would say that it is, to some extent, an appropriate comparison. It's Lords of the Fallen absolutely was inspired by Dark Souls, and this game is a natural extension of Lords of the Fallen. It is the natural conclusion of the gameplay systems that they put in when they were making that game. What bothers me, however, is that people don't try to see past that. It sucks. It sucks that people don't try to see past the superfluous connection of the Dark Souls games, because if that's all you're looking for, that's all you're gonna see. And what it means then is that you miss out on what makes this game unique because you're not looking for it. Like all the systems that I've been talking about, like not just targeting the body parts, but things like restoring your consumables, the tech scrap multiplier, visiting the ops centers, all that kind of stuff is lifted from Lords of the Fallen and its own inspiration. It's not lifted from some other game, it's stuff that they came up with, which is really cool and unique. And not giving it a chance because it looks superficially like something else, that sucks. It really sucks. And it causes people to miss out on a great fucking game. This is a great game. This game is awesome. And it's such a shame. It's just such a shame. So there's my rant about how the Surge didn't get enough attention out of the way. Also, I accidentally killed him there without cutting off his body, which I think I said an expletive. I said an expletive aloud in real life when I was recording this, because I was kind of bummed that I had to do this. I mean, you're right. Like, Clinton Graybill says, Souls-like is easier to say than immersive third-person action game. You're right. Like, that's totally fair. It is, again, like someone else says, it's like calling a game a roguelike. Like, does that describe the game in a sentence? No. Not even on the surface. But it gives you an idea of what the game is like by association of games that are like it. And would I go so far as to say the Surge is like Dark Souls? Sure. I would say that in some ways, the games are comparable. What I would not say is that that is not an excuse for writing off the game as being derivative. Because it's not. The game is not nearly as derivative as reviews of this game said that it was, and it is just a damn shame. Because people read reviews that say stuff like that, and they don't look into it for themselves because the review said it, so hey, it might as well be fact. Also, I got caught on this staircase here, so I get stuck for a minute. Speedball says, one thing it has in common with the Souls games that most Souls-style games don't have is that helping NPCs drives them all crazy or kills them. That's a fair point. I agree. I really wish that this game sold better. I wish that it sold better and got more attention. Because also I died, but that's okay because I'm right outside the ops center. It's a real shame because, like, if this game had gotten more attention, I think it would have been more positively received, brushed off by journalists and players alike. But, you know, people don't give it a try when they see a review that says that it's mediocre. And it's not mediocre, it's one of the best games that came out. Like this game is like Game of the Year material for me. Some people, it's probably not, that's a matter of opinion, but, like, to me, it is a damn good game. And, oh, it just makes me so upset. To see people, especially on something awful, the place of terrible video game opinions being like, oh, the Surge is bad. No explanation for why, it just is bad, believe me and don't buy it. Like, fuck you. I have 1,000 ways to justify why this game is good and worth your time, and you have 0 ways to justify why it's bad. Like, why even say that? Like, what's even the point of being like, oh, this game is bad. No reason specified, it just is, because I say so. Like, if you're not gonna even put forward an argument as to why you feel that way, fucking shut up. Like, Like, I don't understand that about people on the internet not being willing to expound on why they feel that way about certain things. It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I'm sorry. I did not mean for this to be a rant about how people talk about video games on the internet. It's just that I feel very strongly about it. Because I feel like the time that you spend doing whatever the hell you want, like playing video games, watching TV, watching movies, reading books, whatever the hell you decide to do, that's influenced by what people around you say about it. And it's very important to take what anybody says about anything with a grain of salt if they don't make even the slightest attempt to back it up. Like, I've been talking for an hour and 48 minutes about why I like The Surge and why I think The Surge is a good game. And it sucks that that is treated with the same amount of weight as somebody who just says they don't like it. It's fucked up. Jebo Man says, some people are just bad critics, which is why the democratization of criticism isn't great. It's true. Like, everybody has their own opinion on whether something is good or bad, and it's very hard to look at something objectively. Would I say that The Surge is objectively a good game? I would say that it is, but other people would say that it's not. Because even objectivity is judged based on personal preference sometimes. Like, objectivity is a very hard metric, which is why game reviews have such high variation in what people complain about when they're docking points off of a game. But I think The Surge is an example of why that can also be a bad thing, because when a lot of those reviews have the same thing in common, which is that it's derivative of the Souls games, even though that's not true, it leads to public opinion being that it's derivative of the Souls games, even though it's not. And you can find that out just by playing it. But the same way as movie reviews, book reviews, anything like that, it's the general opinion about it is more important than your opinion in your mind. And that's just human nature, really. Like, you're influenced, whether you like it or not, by what people around you are saying about things that you might enjoy. And that sucks, and there's nothing you can do about it, but what can be done is, again, taking reviews with a grain of salt, which I think not a lot of people do. And in my opinion, that's part of why The Surge didn't sell so great, is because people don't take reviews with a grain of salt anymore. They don't take it into account that it is the opinion of what the person who wrote the review thinks of the game, whether they do their research on it or not. And that is, again, it's just a damn shame, is all I'm saying. That's true. Clinton Graybill says, there is no classical background in video games, unlike films and music, so it's impossible to be an accredited game critic. It's true. Okay, 713 says, I disagree with elitism is good for criticism. That just means we have to put up with the snobby opinions of old white dudes and other perspectives get shut out. And that's actually one thing that's good about video game criticism that I like, is that anybody can be a video game critic. Like, if you have played a video game, you can criticize the video game. Like, I guess you have to take into account whether you're skilled at it or not, and whether you're part of the target audience, but I think that one good thing about video games is that anybody can play video games. You got people with no limbs playing video games. And I'm sure they have opinions on whether or not games are good that other people may not have because they have no limbs. I mean, that's a really extreme edge case, but the same basic idea still applies. There is a barrier to entry in reviewing a lot of different forms of media, but for video games, that barrier isn't there, and I think that's really cool and unique about them.
Initiating containment measures. Please proceed with caution.
Was it Ebert that tried to research Pokemon for a review and wound up getting fucking owned by like a 7-year-old who took all his Pokemon cards? That's a great mental image. Oh. So hey, while I was complaining about all that, You know what? I feel like that's a worthy discussion to have, so I'm okay with complaining about that for this whole level. While I was talking about all that, I got past a segment that I got stuck on for like 20 minutes in the last run, and that cut out so much time. Like, the majority of the time that I just gained is going to carry me through to the record, because I just gained like 15-20 minutes of time just from making that one segment where you use the overcharge station on the first try. French Toast says, can't anyone watch a film or read a book too? Yes, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's a matter of how you consume the media. I'm saying that, like, it's a matter of your credibility to other people. Like, if you don't have a background in critiquing films, it's going to be hard for people to take you seriously, even if your opinion is absolutely as valid as anybody else's is. You know? Like, people will say, oh, well, you weren't around reviewing films 20 years ago, so your opinion doesn't matter nearly as much. But video games weren't around in their current form that long ago, so, you know, it's got a lot lower of a barrier to people listening to your opinion. So, this is the final ops center we will be visiting, and I believe after leveling up here, I have exactly enough core power to use all of my implants. Yes! So, I had, like, 1 core power left. So it's time to fight the final boss. And I was expecting for this to drain all of my time. Because earlier the week that I had recorded this, I did another speedrun of the Surge, which I lost all of my time on the final boss because it does way too much fucking damage. Way too much damage. The final boss is very hard in this game. Not because it's a difficult boss, but because it can still kill me in 1 hit. Even with all that fucking health, even with all of the defense I have, the final boss of the Surge can kill me in 1 hit from full health. It's crazy! It's nuts! Emily Smith says, I like how this area's name is an error message. I like it too. I like that it demonstrates that Creo is so far gone now that even your HUD is like, nope, it's fucked. But anyway, I guess the point of saying all that is that that's kind of my philosophy on, like, game reviews and forming an opinion on the quality of a video game. Like, regardless of reviews, you have to have your own personal take on it. And one problem with video game reviews today is that people put a lot of weight on what the person says is good or bad about the game, and not what they think is good or bad about it on a personal level. And I think that, like, it's a valid thing to say that the Surge is inspired by Dark Souls and so on. Sure, that is a very valid thing to say, but it's indicative of a problem with game reviews that is, it affects more than just the Surge. It affects any game that is like any other game. Recently, that has affected any game that's even remotely like Dark Souls, or a roguelike, or anything like that. People take comparisons to other games that already exist as holding much more value than they probably actually should. And, again, I think it's indicative of a problem, where people are much more willing to compare it to things that already exist instead of letting it stand on its own. But oh well. It's happened, and it's done. And the Surge has found pretty moderate success. Pretty good success. And I'm very happy for Deck 13, because it means that they will be able to make a successor to the Surge that's even fucking better. Like, even better than this game. And this game is fantastic. Like, I'm really looking forward to what they do next. So yeah, I like this boss. I think this boss is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea for a boss, even if it does do way too much damage. Honestly, the second half of this fight, like, the first half, like, where you're just fighting the big robot thing, like, that's pretty nerve-wracking because it can kill me in like one good solid whack. But like the second half where you're fighting the human thing, like that's where your resources have started to dwindle, and that happens to me here, and it is terrifying. It's not over yet. Snake, it's not over yet. So the good thing about the speedrun that I did that failed is that I got to learn all of this guy's attacks, so it allows me to now I can keep way better track of his combos, which means that I can dodge him better. Like, taking out this half of the boss is pretty much down to like, it's pretty much down to dodging at the right time. Which is not hard, like that's not super difficult, but it is, you know, it requires timing that sometimes is very tight. Modding some white flowers so it's a meadow here. I really should be playing Snake Eater right now, shouldn't I? Man. That was a really deep, intricate talk we just had. See, I never would have been able to have that talk if I was doing this commentary live. Like, I like doing post commentary on speedrun videos and other stuff like this because it's a lot more fun and gives me a lot more freedom to talk about whatever I want. So, if I ever do another speedrun video, it's probably going to be post commentary. It's nice to interact with the chat a lot more like this. Whereas if I were doing this live, I would be focusing on the game. So, hey, maybe I don't want to fucking go to Games Done Quick after all. BAMO! And the speedrun ends when the screen fades to black after defeating the rogue process. Wait for it. Now. So hey, there you go. 2 hours, 26 minutes, or wait, no. 2 hours, 0 minutes, 26 seconds. There you go. We did it! I beat the Surge faster than anybody else who doesn't run through walls and stuff. People that run through walls and stuff are faster than me. But hey! Woo! Peter Bite says, I came into this at like 140-ish. I thought you were just incredible at multitasking.
What do you mean lost contact? Just before sunrise EST, we lost contact with Argos.
Yeah. Sequel bait, sequel hook, yada yada. The Surge! Hey, thanks, Speedball. I love you too. I love all of you. You're all great. So, that's gonna do it. I think the video is pretty much over now. So, hey. Exactly 2 hours on my file time. That's really satisfying to look at. Oh, man. So, okay. I guess that'll do it. Thank you all. Thank you all very much for watching. Yes, I will defend my records if they get broken. Thank you all very much for everything, for conversing with me, for joining me for this journey, for experiencing my awesome, super fast playthrough of the Surge. I'm glad to have you all here. So, I'll see you all when the DLC comes out, because we will absolutely be playing that together too, first time through. Take care, everybody.